Golly, it got quiet in here. Okay, I'd like to call the Grayson County Board of Education meeting for January 2023 to order. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Robinson. We are going to elect school board officers.
At this time, I need a motion, nomination for chair.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Got it.
She's got it. Ms. Thomason, I'll turn it back over to you. You got it. Lucky winner tonight.
Okay, do you not do the other ones?
No, you can take care of that.
Okay, the next person that would be elected would be vice chair. So do I have any nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Anna Major.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Alfreda, second by Valerie, to nominate and elect Anna Majors. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, appointment of superintendent as school board secretary. And that would be Mr. Robinson. Robinson is school board secretary. Okay, the motion was made by Anna, second by Alfreda, to appoint Mr. Robinson as school board secretary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, the next is appointment of finance officer as treasurer. And that would be Aaron. So we'll need a motion for that.
A motion to appoint Aaron as finance officer as treasurer.
Okay, the motion was made by Valerie, second by Anna, to appoint Aaron as our finance officer as treasurer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're going to take care of some business. I do want to welcome everybody to our meeting. The first thing is we need to adopt a revised agenda. And there's been several things added. So 14 added to approve a pay application number 7 to CNC Contracting for the security vestibules at the 4 Grayson County schools. That's attachment 9. Item 15 is added. Request the board motion to approve pay application number 8 to Parco Constructors Group for the middle school, attachment 10. 16 is request the board motion to approve change order number 2 to CNC Contracting in the amount of $766.07 for the vestibules. Item 17, request the board motion to approve the initial BG1 for the Caneyville Elementary, site paving and storm drainage improvements, attachment 11. 18 is request the board motion to approve the initial BG1 for Caneyville School Elementary, foundation underpinning, attachment 12. 19 is a request for a board motion to approve the initial BG1 for Caneyville for metal roof repairs, gutter, and downspout replacement, attachment 13. 20 is request the board motion to approve the initial BG1 for the Grayson County High School gymnasium structural repairs, attachment 14. Then under item 21, E was added to approve cash farm lease, attachment 8. And then over on H, you're still on 21. There's been some leaves added. Employee 1876, employee 2085, employee 2933, and employee 2428. Then the last, under I, we had another resignation, Clayton Felty, a special ed instructional aide at GCMS, effective January 20. Okay, so added, we're having a closed session to discuss Superintendent Robinson's future contract, per KRS 61.810. His current contract expires June 30th, 2023. So that's a lot of things have been added. So we need a motion to adopt this revised agenda. Okay, Kim, the motion was made by Dr. Abney, second by Anna, to adopt the revised agenda as presented. All those in favor? Okay. Now that takes care of that business. So I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to thank Mrs. Cox and her staff for hosting us, hosting our meeting. The building looks great, by the way. We're just so blessed to be able to meet back in the schools. We've been rotating, and next month we'll be at the Technology Center. So we've been to most of the schools. On behalf of the board, we would like to send our best wishes and prayers to our GCS staff, students, and families for a productive year. We wish you a good year ahead. I just learned prior to the meeting, I would like to make a prayer request for Michael Critchlow. His mother, Faye, is in very grave condition, and they need prayers. So if you would keep, Faye was our resource person at Wilkie in the middle school for some time. So if you would keep Faye Critchlow and Michael and the family in prayers, that would be appreciated. I'd like to thank our superintendent and my fellow board members for their dedication to Grayson County Schools. We're all about the students. That's the most important thing in all our decisions. I'd like to thank Karen Lewis for her post on GCS app, complimenting us, making us look good. Thank you, Karen. It looked good. The picture looked good too. And then Kara Anderson and her husband and the students are they're doing this videography thing. So, do you want to introduce your students?
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Miss Thomason. And I would like to introduce, you can't see them on the camera because we have everything set up just perfectly. Maybe in the future we'll have it to where we can move around a little more. But McKenna Finley and Tiara Lear are my live streamers, and they're doing an amazing job. I would like to thank Miss Karen Lewis and all of you all for allowing us the opportunity to do this for you. And hopefully we can just keep growing and doing more. So thank you.
I think it's a great project. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, on behalf of retired teachers, I would like to thank Miss Mooneyhan. I think I saw her back there, and her culinary students for catering our Christmas brunch. It was fantastic. So thank you. And I got to meet some and talk to some of the students. See Allie back there. I'd like to thank Mr. Baldwin and the calendar committee for their work. And we'll be looking at the calendar shortly. This morning I received an email from Teresa Jarbo, and it pertains to some of the students over here, I think. We had 12 students qualified to attend KMEA, All-State Course in February. So congratulations to the students. I see some of you here. We deeply appreciate the hard work of Mrs. Jarbo. She's not only teaches music, teaches you all about life and how to prepare for life experiences. Upcoming events, January 16th, there's no school. That's Dr. King's birthday. February 9th, we will be meeting at the Technology Center. At this time, I'd like Mr. Baldwin to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Stand for pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, We have some recognitions before we do this. I want to make introductions. Would you stand when I call your name? Alfreda Weedman, Anna Majors, Dr. Abney Brett, Valerie Hayes, Kim Horsley is our board secretary. She's over here. Mr. Cox is our assistant superintendent. Okay, and we have Erin, our treasurer, Carla Purcell, and Stacy Decker, who does our curriculum. So we're going to have turn it over to Ms. Cox here to recognize students. Margot, I've seen you several times. Margot is one of the most bubbly persons I know. She's never lost for words, is she? I know it. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to have Mr. Spinks first. I said Lacey, but it'll be Mr. Adam Spinks. He's our GCA president, and you have to come up here, as she said, Adam. He is going to do a recognition at this time.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair Thomason. First, I'd like to start out January School Board Appreciation Month, and on behalf of the teachers of Grayson County, I just want to thank the school board for your strong and steady leadership. You do great work for our kids, and it's always a pleasure to see you, talk with you, and yeah, all right. So, sorry, this is my first one. Miss McCrady's here. I feel like she's got a big shoes to fill. All right, she can. It's fine. All right, we're excited for a great semester. We're going to continue putting money back to our classrooms with our membership grants. We've already put several $100s back in at 4 work sites, so hopefully we can reach more teachers and students this semester. Also, I'm excited for our retirement celebration that we're going to have in May. So excited to bring that back. All right, we do a member of the month. And we always want to recognize members who are doing great things for our kids. And this month was pretty easy. I'm going to recognize a teacher who will step in, help out wherever she's needed. She's very professional. She is our yearbook sponsor, and that might be one of the biggest monsters to take on in a high school. It's always a pleasure to see her, work with her. So Miss Deanna Lasley, if you'd come up. Miss Lasley teaches English here at the high school. So I'm sure you've seen her at events, ball games with a camera. So smile if you see her. It might be on your so here we go. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Adam, very much. Okay, we're on. At this time, Principal Cox will recognize several students, and then Mr. Robinson will do a recognition. Then we'll go into our presentations on the calendar and so forth. You're welcome to stay for the entire meeting, but if you feel that you need to leave, I know the students probably want to stay. Feel free to stay as well. Thank you, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have everybody back at the high school again. It's good to see smiling faces, to see board members alike and Board of Education members. Thank you all for your work with our students and just dedicating time to have these meetings, and our Board of Education members as well. Tonight, I'm very honored to present students, teachers, and staff recognition awards because they represent the best of our building. We have over 100 staff and we have over 1,300 students. So this was no easy task. I kept feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to recognize this person. They do so many things, or I need to recognize these students. So it was very difficult to decide what group that I wanted to recognize tonight, but they all contribute to making our building a better place to work and learn. So the first group that I want to recognize is our senior class officers. And so to be a class officer, it's actually kind of a lengthy Well, Carolyn knows she was part of our process. So, number one, you've got to do a speech in front of your peers, which is very nerve wracking. This is a little bit nerve wracking. So, as teenagers, I'm sure that's very difficult to do. Then they have to sit in it through an interview process. And then we had Miss Thomason impersonating Miss Hornet. So that's a different story for a different night. And then, of course, we had student voting. So they had to be well-rounded individuals. They were tested, but through this process proved that they were capable of being leaders as senior class officers. So far this year, they have been servant leaders, and that's my favorite type of leadership. And they've kind of put their money where their mouth is. They have made it their mission to provide school chaperone events that all students can attend and have fun. And that's something that's so important to do now that we're coming out of COVID. For so many years, we weren't able to do that. So they want to make sure that our students have those opportunities to come together. At the beginning of the year, for example, we hosted a toga decorating party. We were taking it all the way back to like 2002. When I was here and did that, it was amazing. So that was a lot of fun. We had almost 100 kids at that event. We also in November hosted a bonfire. That was new, roasted marshmallows, played some games, just enjoyed that fellowship. And again, that's memories that they're going to take with them. And again, I remember decorating my toga. So we're just hoping that we're going to give them opportunities to make memories in a good, school sponsored environment. They've continued with our winter formal dance. We had almost 500 students at that dance. It was amazing. But that doesn't just come together. There's a lot of planning that has to take place. There's things that have to be bought, just different things that we have to do. So I'm very proud of this group. And I'm just honored that, they're willing to work with us and just do whatever needs to be done for the school and to help with these events. So I'm going to recognize them one at a time and just make some notes about them real quick. So I will start with our president, Mr. Caleb Jenkins. Come on up here, Mr. Caleb. And so Mr. Jenkins blew everybody away with his speech. I was doing like testing that day and I happened to walk through and I was just like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. And he just has such a genuine personality. And probably the thing that I love most about him is that he's into bringing the students together. A lot of times in the speech or in the interview, they'll say, well, I want to do this. Well, he said that he wanted to do it and then he actually did it. So that was amazing to see him during WIN time with the seniors talking to all the different groups of students. So he's a great example for our students. He unites everyone, and I'm really proud that he is our senior class president. Congratulations. Thank you, Caleb. Our VP cannot be here tonight. He is listening to his sister all-state auditions, but that's Isaac Butler. He's very talented. He's exciting. He has diverse ideas. And if you're around him for very long, he's just, he's kind of all over the place, but brings a lot of good energy. Yes. Some of those young ladies were telling me about that. Next, we have our secretary, Miss Allie Dodson. Come on up here, Allie. Always has to remind me that I'm the adult at these things. So like when we play kickball and things like this, Miss Cox, you're the adult. You really shouldn't be getting this mad. She does. She keeps me grounded. She's great with students. She's great with my personal kids. Anytime we need anything from Miss Mooneyhan, she's our go-to, and she is going into education. And don't we need wonderful people going in as educators right now? So, Allie, thank you so much. Okay, next we have another Allie, Miss Allie Jo Morgan. Come on up. And she is our reporter / I put social media because now I don't think you can do anything without that. Yes, she is. And her smile and her personality is so contagious, and you just cannot be upset when you're around her because she's going to smile. She's going to brighten your day, uplift you. And sometimes in education, you need that. So Allie's always bringing a positive perspective to the conversation. And, she's our go-to with these flyers. And look, I created this on Canva, and I'm so impressed. And she's kind of helped me with that. So congratulations, Allie. Thank you. And then, last but not least, our treasurer, Miss Margalo Stanton. So, as you've heard tonight, this group is very diverse. They've got their hands in a lot of different things. Margalo is involved in choir, and one of the things that I love about Miss Darbo and her choir kids is that she set it up for them to be leaders within choir. Margalo came in the interview, talked about all that, and has really stepped up as an officer in our meetings and just in the hallway. If I need something, if I need to be uplifted, if I need a job done, I'm going to ask her. And I appreciate that leadership, that servant leadership, not only in choir, but what she's brought to the senior class officers. So please give a round of applause to Ms. Marshall. I'm so proud of these kiddos. Again, there are so many that I could recognize, but I do think they've done a lot of good work in uniting the students post-COVID, and I'm proud to call them our senior class officers. So let's give them one more round of applause. Okay, next I would like to move on to classified staff. I think when we think about school, we think about teachers. Guys, if you've been in education, you know that the school cannot run without your custodians, without your lunch folks, without your aides. So I want to make sure that they're being recognized tonight as well. So first on the list, I want to talk about Miss Stacy Smallwood. And if you'll come up here, Miss Smallwood, let's give her a round of applause. So, of course, school lunch, we've got to follow all these rules and regulations. But I'm telling you, she has kicked it up a notch, as Emerald Lagasse would say. We've got our own charcuterie boards. We're having pizza taste tests. And again, that's stuff that just doesn't happen. You have to go the extra mile to say, okay, we're going to do this. We're getting all kinds of greens and fruits from local places. I mean, we're in the 21st century. We're organic. And that's because of her, and she's always trying, do you think the kids will like this? And then I'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, they love this. And that's not something that you always hear about school lunches. So I just appreciate that she has gone above and beyond in our cafeteria this year. And she's always wanted to try new things. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Kent Rudnick, one of our custodians, is next. Come on up here, Mr. Rudnick.
You might not be able to see to make it up here.
He's got his peepers. There we go. Okay. I need a time limit on him because I just can't say enough good things about Kent. And if you've worked with him, he never says no. I could ask him to go to the moon and get a broom, and somehow he would find a way to do it with a smile on his face. If you need something done, or if you're like, oh goodness, I really need, And then in the lunchroom, he's smiling, he's cutting up, he's poking fun. He just makes my day better. He leaves me better than what I came every time that I talk to Kent. And I just think that that's amazing to have somebody in your building who, teacher favorite, never says no, a professional painter. I don't know about the professional part, but he does do a lot of painting for me. There you go. And a very hard worker. And I can't say enough good things about him. I could stand up here all night. Our teachers love him. Our students love him. And I've just had the pleasure of working with him. And I'm so grateful for that, with 28 years of experience too. So I've got to treat him good so he doesn't retire. So look, here you go, Mr. Redneck. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Okay. Next on my list is Miss Bonnie Langley. If Miss Langley will come up here, please. While she's walking up, I'll do the fast version. I just don't know that I would make it without this lady. So, in the classroom. She worked down in the lab, was always a good mentor for new teachers. When I was in the library, she kept me straight with testing. I could choke Todd Johnston that he made me testing coordinator. I hope we got that recorded. But Miss Langley was here to keep me straight. And that's really a full-time job if you know how crazy I am sometimes. She just gives good sound advice. She helps with whatever. I think she's kind of like Kent. I don't ever think she said no. Maybe for a grandbaby. And then I'm like, you know what? I understand. Okay. She's my right-hand woman. You know, when I need a logistical problem solved, when we're talking about moving kids and all this, Bonnie, I need your help. I need this. She's already working on ACT, and she has 40 years of service at GCHS. Oh, wow. And I mean, like, can we just get a round of applause for that? Because that is amazing. Oh, I love it. Yes, you can even stand if you would like to. I think she deserves it. She's a personal friend, and I love her. Okay, I've got my teacher group next. I'll kind of call you all up one at a time, but I want to kind of talk about you as a collective unit really quick. This group is near and dear to my heart. These are my workhorses. These are my department heads. And if you know anything about the high school and department heads, they kind of have to be in charge of everything. You know, I get an idea and then I've got to pass it along to my department heads and I got to bounce it off of them. And then I've got to be like, okay, Miss Van Meter, that's social studies, or, you know, Miss Duval, get the science trips together. So they're kind of the first line of defense and the first people that you go to bounce an idea off of, to ask for help, or to just be a leader. Again, these people are not telling me no, thank goodness, because I couldn't do this job without them. They're instructional leaders, they're social leaders, they're cultural leaders. If this group isn't liking an idea, then guess what? We're not doing it, okay? Because I've got to have their support. But they take ideas, strategies, and whatever else is thrown in at them, and they just make it work, and they make the idea come to life. So I'm going to talk about each of those individually. And Miss Gretchen Van Meter is first on the list, so come on up here. And the quote for most of them, I tried to do some differing quotes, but it says, I am firm in my belief that a teacher lives on and on through his students. Good teaching is forever, and the teacher is immortal. Yes, and that's one of my favorites. And I think that is so true because, you know, students that you have, oh, I remember, how's Miss Van Meter doing? You know, somebody just asked to observe her the other day. But this lady, number one, she's got 23 years of experience when she finishes this year. So that's nothing to put your nose up at. She is such a mentor. You know, when I talk to everybody, but I'm really like, Miss Van Meter, how's everybody going to take this? Okay. What do you think about this? What do I need to do before I'm even pitching ideas out there? She always works hard to provide the best opportunities for her students and coworkers. She's very supportive. If somebody comes to social studies, she is nurturing them. She is mentoring them. And they've got a wonderful department, and she's a great part of that. Thank you, Ms. Van. Okay. Miss Gil McCready, if you'll come on up. Another long hauler here and getting ready to retire. So she worked at other places, but here at GCHS, she's got 24 years of service. So again, very impressive in education. She excels at using technology. She's been our dual credit coordinator. When I have a question about how to write an on-demand, if you all didn't know, we're the highest in our region, and we're at the top in the state, and that is because of our English department led by Miss McCready here. She's able to guide students to consider content from various perspectives, and you know, she's just a hard worker. That would be, I think I told you that today. She can outwork anybody just all the time. She is going, and it makes my job easier, and it is definitely a help to the English department. So, Miss McCready, thank you so much. Hey, Miss Duval, Miss Erna Duval. I'm taking the heavy hitters out. These are all 23, 24, 25 years right here. Okay. I've got to treat them really good because I don't want them to retire just yet, you know. So here we go. So she, Miss Van Meter was social studies department, Miss McCready English, Miss Duval is science department head. Okay. She is teaching every day. You will never go down to her room when there's not something going on. She might be frizzed out and crazy like I am, but she's doing that every day. She is teaching the kids. She's handling the discipline. She is an administrator's dream because she just does what she is supposed to do. She works with academic team. She does ESS. Anytime that you work with those after school services and money and hourly, all that good stuff, it gets complicated. But I am so thankful that she is willing to do that. She is so smart when it comes to science. I mean, when I talk to her, I'm kind of like, okay, pull it back a little bit. I'm not up at that level, but she is an amazing teacher, and I'm thankful to have her at Grayson County High School.
Thank you.
And she was my teacher, so there we go. Don't start telling any of those stories, okay? Mr. Powell is next. He could not be here tonight. He is math department head. He has spent many years at Grayson County High School. And just anybody that's in math right now, we're just so thankful for, because those positions are very hard to find. He also does international traveling with our students. And if you're in the school system and you've done anything with traveling and POs and getting that all organized, you know how crazy that can be. He's got a Japan trip coming up. He also organized for some German students to come over and stay with families. So he's providing students with opportunities that they would not get elsewhere. So let's give a round of applause to Mr. Dow. Oh, Miss Dow, come on up here, Miss Dow. Yay. So, Miss Dow, we've got 18 years. You're not at the 20s yet, but that's pretty good as well. I'm thankful to Ms. Dow for some personal reasons as well, because she is doing Tabata, and we just go, and it's amazing. Like, when I've had a frustrated day, I just get in there and just start punching and lifting, and we're laughing. And it really is a stress relief. And when I tell people outside the community, they're like, that is so awesome that somebody does that for you. And I'm like, yes, it is awesome that we do that, because if we didn't have her, we'd all just be going around like slugs, I guess. And I need that sometimes. She's got awesome community partnerships. She's done the pottery bowls and raised awareness about, food shortages, worked with our local food pantry with that. She's just inspirational. I mean, she's art. If you've seen some of the things that she's done, and just that she can pull that out of students, it's amazing. And then Mr. Hayes also gave me some points here. She has the uncanny ability to develop rapport and encourage others. And she encourages us during Tabata as well. She is just hugely important to the success of GCHS students. And we're so thankful for Miss Dow. Thank you, Miss Dow. Yes, Mr. Spinks, he's next up here. Mr. Spinks. So Mr. Spinks, gosh, he probably wants to block my number if I'm having. Hey, you would be proud of this. I couldn't ask for your help because you were getting one. So he's my go-to for a lot of things. I really like to bounce ideas off of him when I go in his room. I'm seeing really cool, thoughtful lessons. He's making the kids do the work. And, if I'm just feeling down, that's going to be a class that I go to, because I just enjoy seeing that learning happening. He's our technology. What's that official title? Digital learning coach. Thank you. He takes what I say and he makes it even sound better there. He's very involved in PBIS with helping teachers with classroom management. If I'm doing a PD about something, guess who is involved some way? Mr. Spinks. Okay. If something's going on with their computer, I kind of am like, okay, you just need to call Mr. Spinks. So I want to know how much I appreciate him. He works diligently just to provide whatever's needed, even before he was digital coach. And we were trying to get some things going with NTI and doing work at home. He was kind of our go-to guy. How do we do this through Google Classroom? How do we do this? So I appreciate him, and I just appreciate his encouragement, his thoughtfulness, and just his teaching in the classroom. Thank you, Mr. Spade. Okay, Miss Mooneyhan, come on up. And I am trying to be fast, I swear. So she is just helping us punch out some teachers, which we need. She's like the jack of all trades. She had to make food for me on Tuesday, which I ate half of it, I think. So it was delicious, though. I just needed to taste test it to make sure it was okay. That's what I kept saying as I was going back. She, works with the new teachers. She's got the Dodson girls and several others. Again, lots of additional paperwork, lots of additional mentoring, lots of additional responsibilities, and she takes it with a smile. Even when she's stressed out about FCS because they're going to nationals and she's preparing, she's smiling. Even when I ask her to do stuff at the last minute, she is still smiling. She takes care of me. So I appreciate her. I've already kind of talked about it, but instrumental in implementing the educational technician and ECE apprenticeship. And that's just so important to our county. So I'm very proud to work with Miss Mooneyhan. I'm very thankful for her. Thank you. Yes, I love her. Okay. Next up is Mr. Kincaid. Come on up, Mr. Kincaid. So on top of being our physical education department head, he is our AD. And I don't think that people realize how big of a job that is. I don't have to worry about ball games because he's going to be here and he's going to make sure that it's done right. And that is such a stressor off of me. A couple of years ago, we hosted baseball region, got off without a hitch, everything great, awards order, different things, just things you don't even think of that you have to be in charge of as the athletic director. So that is just a huge responsibility and one that he does an amazing job at. He's at every single game. He goes to away games. And again, I don't have to worry about it. He does an amazing job. And as much as it pains me to say this, because we like to poke fun at each other, I am very happy that he's here and proud to be working with him. Thank you. Okay, Miss Hannah Pullman, come on up. You're next. Let's give a round of applause. So I have some younger teachers coming up, even though they might not have the 23 years. Oh my gosh, they've like hit the ground running. Miss Pullman's kind of like me. She didn't take the traditional route to education, but I love that because we have these life experiences and we know there's paperwork everywhere. We know, gosh, this is a lot better than, what I was doing before. So I think that's a good perspective to have. She's our exceptional education department head, which means that there are a lot of teachers under her and there are a lot of aides under her and there are a lot of students with diverse needs, which means she has a lot of responsibility. We probably talk almost every single day about some issue or something that's going on. And I love it sometimes when she's just like, Miss Cox, I've handled it. And I'm like, thank you, dear Lord. Thank you. She's very professional. She, I know, is going to get her admin, and I know someday she's going to make a wonderful administrator. So thank you, Miss Pullman. This job is so hard, we have to split it up. So Miss Childress, come up, please. She's our other exceptional educator department head. And I use her in other ways. Bless her heart. She's like my fast bridge expert. She's been on 12 hours of training with me the last couple of weeks. If I don't know something about special education or math, even though I did beat her in a time problem in front of her kids, it was just so awesome. But no, I won't let her live it down. And the kids were like, they loved it too. It was awesome. But she is so thoughtful in the classroom. And I think sometimes as an exceptional educator that's collaborating, they're not maybe feel as though they can get up there and teach. When you go into Megan's class, you don't know who the teacher is and who the collaborator is. She's very knowledgeable in math, very knowledgeable in exceptional education. I love going into her class. She's even helping me with the ACT. I had to beg. I have to treat her really good. Miss Langley's smiling because she knows what all that entails, but again, is not saying no, is such a leader in the building instructionally with our programs, and I'm just proud to work with her. So thank you so much, Ms. The the last two are Mr. and Miss French. Mr. French is the music department head, but I also wanted to include Miss French because they actually were awarded the KMEA. They'll be recognized, and our band will play at that in February. And I'm not a music person, but it's kind of a big deal. So just want to make sure that everybody knows that, and that they do a lot of extra things. Again, if you ever do anything traveling with kids, it's a lot of extra paperwork and responsibility. And I'm proud of all of our music people, but they have had a really cool award, and just want to make sure that you all know about that as well. So let's give them a round of applause. And I'm done. Yeah.
Good job. Thank you very much. Okay,
I had a 30-minute presentation about each board member, but I'm not going to do that. I'm sitting there thinking, I was a principal here for 5 years, and as you reflect back, you kind of look back, I love that job. One thing I was going to say about the students over here is that I think one thing I miss about being out here every day, you do see how talented our kids are. And, when I'm out in the community, people say, oh, kids nowadays, and I challenge them. Yeah, I know, they're awesome. They can do so much. So it sounds like you have a great student leadership team there. And I am going to debunk a little bit of what you said about Miss Van Meter. I worked in the department with her. She was mean to me. She was always a no, she was great. I'm going back up because she's going to get me back. I enjoyed working with Miss Van Meter. She was great. And I'm going to pick on Kent. If you've been around here much, he's a Raiders fan for one. He wears these shirts and all this. But I'll tell you a good little story about Kent that when my son was probably 4 or 5 years old, I don't even know if he was that old. Every time he come out here to the gym, I don't know if it was the band or the Cougar or wherever, he got sick. Every time he walked in the door, he just threw up. And so whether it was at prom, a ball game or whatever, and Kent, JT, they must have had some kind of tracker on him before he could get, I think they were cleaning it up before he could even hit the floor, but they took care of Hayden every single time he got sick. So I appreciate Kent so much. But anyway, as Mr. Spink said, I think I paid him some money to say something positive about the board members too. But January is School Board Recognition Month. And I wrote down a little bit of a list here, but I'm going to say something personal about this whole group of folks here. I don't know that there's another board in the state of Kentucky that cares so much about every kid being successful, every staff member being successful, and wanting better for our community. And they push me to make things better, and we want that within our school system. We want the best for whatever phase you're talking about. This group is that. So I'd want to say we do have a small gift that I'm going to give you after the meeting. You can open it up, but I wrote down I'm a lister here. I just want to say thanks for being caring, your passion, and your compassion, your dedication, and always wanting the best for whatever we're trying to do. So I appreciate that this month especially, but every month moving forward to school year. So let's give our board members a great round of applause.
thank you very much. Students, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. Got to know a lot of you. I'll be seeing you. Staff that was recognized. Mr. Kincaid, how did it go today? How did it go today?
Oh, it went great. We got an A.
Oh,
I
good.
forgot to even mention that.
Well, I hadn't talked to him, so I didn't know how it was. So I didn't want to. Yeah, we had the Title IX audit today. So. Thank you. I'm glad.
About 5 or 7 years. We had 0 completions.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Baldwin.
Everybody left. I was getting ready for a huge speech.
That's why they left.
That's it, they did.
But you have to listen
Like,
to
we've
me.
had enough. You all have a copy of this, correct?
Yes, Tim gave us one, Mr. Kelly.
So we created 3 options. We had our calendar committee started back in October. We had a meeting in November. We sat down and talked about some options and different things. Went down to.
I think she wants. Can you pick him up?
What?
We can make him go up there.
You know, we go there.
Well, since you're going to be difficult,
Well, everybody left. And
I'm
nobody.
just joking. Here, you want to do it?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Actually, it's got it right
Modern technology. That's how you run.
here. I know.
Nobody ever cares what I have to say.
There
so
you
I-
go. Now you're ready.
Thank you, Kara. Okay, so we started back in October, then we got our first meeting in November. We went over these options and kind of talked about some different things. One big thing that we have this year that we didn't have in the past, I met with Carla and Stacy, talked about some curricular things, and they wanted to do a couple more days with professional development. So the state requires us to have 170 days in your calendar, or it's based on minutes, but it factors out to about 170 days. We have traditionally 176. This year we had 175. Next year we're going to go to 174, and that's going to create 2 more professional development days. So you'll see on the calendar it's 174 days. That gives us a professional development day kind of at every quarter, and they picked the days on when they thought they were best. The 2 or the 3 calendars, I don't know what they're laughing back there about. The 3 calendars are all about the same. Sonny would always say this. I remember him saying it. There's very little variance that you can do in the calendars. So the option A and B started on the 9th of August. I think ended maybe about the 25th of May. The breaks are usually about the same, with fall break being the first week of October and spring break being the first week of April. The one that was voted the highest was option C. You can see on this sheet here, that was 41.7%, followed by option A, 34.9, then B at 23.3. The difference between option C and it starts 1 week earlier, so we start August 2nd, but the Christmas break is a little different. So we leave on the 21st, which is kind of midweek, but we don't come back until like the second Monday in January. And people seem to like that. I think part of it is there's such a long time for teachers and students in January, February, March, between spring break and Christmas. So I think that was part of it. And I don't know what else, but that sold. If you look on the calendar, also there is on April 8th, there's a day off after spring break. And Mr. Robinson came to me. I didn't know this was even a thing. He said, there's a solar eclipse. I don't know how he comes up with stuff. There's a solar eclipse April
Check with
8th.
the science
Yeah, I don't know. April 8th, 2024. So the last time we had an eclipse on August of 2017, there were some issues, some things that happened. So we decided best not to be in school that day. I think Hardin County's out that day. So we're gonna kind of extend spring break into that 8th, which gives us a little longer spring break. But
We had a lot of staff members last time that wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turned into.
And then we got into
fiasco.
some liability things, like if kids go out there and stare at the sun, or what are we gonna
And
do?
they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, Donald Trump style. But it's
No political point.
that's all right. But so that's the winner, option C right now. I know we have to have 2 readings between now and February. So are there any questions? Anything you're concerned about? Any issues?
So your recommendation would be C.
My recommendation would be C.
I don't know that they've always been this close. Have they in the past?
Oh, as far as the votes?
Yeah.
Last year was 1 vote.
Yeah, I think last year was pretty close. Yeah. 1,534 responses. So we had it open for 2 weeks. And I want to thank Karen for getting that out there and taking care of the survey and everything. But that was
We had like
1,500. It ended up being 1,534. Yeah. So no questions. All right. Well, I'll see you all next month. We'll talk about it again.
No politics.
No politics. That's really. Yes.
Okay, Christy. Hi, Christy.
So last month I told you all I'd be back this month.
There you are.
Discuss recommendations. So we have a lot of wonderful things that are going on.
It's for the students, Christy.
A lot of improvements that we've made. But there's 2 areas for focus that we have chosen for the 2023 school year. And that's promotion of healthy food and beverage choices. You using USDA smarter lunchroom techniques. Right now, the score is that it's only partially in place. We got a 2 out of 3. So there's definitely room for improvement. We're only implementing about 7 of the techniques, and our go-to score of 3 on that would be to implement 10 or more of the techniques consistently. And the second area that we're going to focus on is collaboration between school nutrition services staff members and teachers. Right now, that's considered under development. It's only scored a 1 out of 3, and we want to get that to a 3 out of 3 if possible. We are only consistently implementing one of those strategies, and to get to a 3, we need to do 3 or more of those strategies. So those are our areas of focus. Just on the second page, front and back, I just pasted the discussion questions for the 2 areas of improvement so you could kind of see what criteria that they were looking for us to be able to get the highest score in those categories. And just short, sweet, to the point, unless you have any questions.
Oh, I was excited to hear some of the things they were doing here at the high school.
Doing a great job.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Christy. Okay, this time we'll start the business meeting. Item 9 is approval of minutes from December 8th. We met at the board.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Dr. Abney, second by Alfreda to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor? Okay, Erin, I think she wants you to put the little.
Good evening. Included in your packet was the treasurer's report for the month of December. I did want to make one note on that. Since then, towards the end of the agenda, there in the notifications, we did purchase a CD with the funds that we were fronted from the state for the technology center renovation. So we've invested those funds. At the moment, they're on a 6-month CD. We expect to probably renew that for at least another 6 months once we get to that point. But we weren't far enough along in the project. We don't want to over. Yes, the bank worked with us and negotiated with us, and I feel good about where we're at today on that. So I did want to make that note that the cash balances will look significantly different, or at least moved around next month. Does anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report?
I'll second. Okay, the motion was made by Alfreda, second by. Now, item 11 is salaries, bills.
Also included in your report were the checks for the month. The starting check number was 108036. The ending check number was 108324. Does anyone have any questions about the activity on that?
Have a big month.
They're all big right now.
Yeah.
Construction projects going on.
Oh my God, that balance sheet was looking pretty. I don't see how y'all keep up.
And Amazon.
Yeah, it's crazy. I make a motion, we approve salary, bills, claims, and transfers.
Second.
Okay, made by Anna to approve item 11, salaries, bills, claims, and
Aye.
second by. Okay, new business. Item 12 is discussion approval of a resolution declaring the official intent of the Board of Education with respect to reimbursement of out-of-pocket expenditures related to upcoming projects at Kingsville, Gracie County High School, be made from subsequent borrowings by the Gracie County Corporation and
Everybody wants to speak to that, or I can, or both of us.
This is a resolution basically giving us permission to go ahead and purchase things for these BG ones that are later on here before we actually bond the money. We haven't taken bids or anything like that on some of these projects, but the Caneyville HVAC we did, so they can go ahead and start purchasing stuff for the Caneyville HVAC project. And once we receive bids, they can go ahead and do these before we close on the bond. And that should speed along the process of the project and things like that, especially with as many lag times as we've had lately.
Yeah, for example, like Caneyville over Christmas break, they were trying to get a lot of stuff ordered so they could, one, get the price locked in, and number two, get it here. So, I mean, they're already doing a lot for that, so we're just trying to prevent from what we've run into on the last project.
There a limit on the amount or number of signatures on the check?
Yeah, there is. There's a amount. It's a limited little contract of just, it's, I want to say it's only like 500 something. I mean, it's a small amount.
Will be paid back, but yes, the checks we always have two signers on checks.
Motion to approve item number 12. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13 is approval of contract with online. Used by. There are no fees charged.
I'm not sure if you all remember, but several years ago, we had kind of tried to kickstart this where Clarkson's Daycare specifically is highly interested in being able to take some credit card payments. Our process was kind of stalled by just general busyness, and then food services kind of changed up how they are taking their school payments because we were piggybacking off of her program. This is a free program that another district uses that had kind of recommended it, to where, again, there are no fees to the district. If we're selling a t-shirt for $10, parents have an option to purchase it via credit card for their convenience. They can still write a check. It's an online store, and the fee would go to the parent. It's going to be 4% plus 35-cent transaction fee, and then the credit card company, the EdLeo, they're not actually the credit card company, but they would just put the $10 in our account. And it,
Parents know about
yes,
this? How would they
yes.
know?
Well,
That's good.
it's
Yeah, we had it clarified.
What specifically will it be used? Will they use it
in the
for?
very beginning, I suspect Clarkson's Daycare will probably be the first adopter. I have had half of our school secretaries, just due to circumstances, they couldn't all make it. But they were highly interested after they saw the demo. And they thought it was going to be a lot easier than somebody having to come in and walk in and pay with a credit card to them every day. It's basically you build an online store, you show what you're selling, and at the bottom it says, here are the fees. You know, you have to accept the terms, just as if you were
So
buying
it's not
something
going to be
online.
like for lunch or ball
No,
games
no.
or
This
anything like
is,
that.
it can be used for ball games if we choose to, but we do not intend to roll that out right away. We need to understand the product, how it works, and
Yeah,
things
and
like that.
that's not always.
Right. At this point in time, we have no intention of making it mandatory use for anything. It's just an option and a convenience
More
for
like a
those.
service.
Mhm.
So how are you going to know that a kid's just not using their parents' credit card to buy something
We wouldn't know that if they have their parents' credit card. We wouldn't know that, just as if they were shopping on Amazon with it. We wouldn't know.
In most likelihood, unless it's a repeat, parents, credit cards usually work with parents on those things. And banks do too, on debit card. Well,
And
debit
again,
cards would
anything
have
we
to-
set up, we're talking about selling T-shirts.
not
I
gonna
mean,
be a
how
high
often do
dollar
we?
It's not gonna be.
There wouldn't be a high dollar item that we're selling through the schools.
You know, maybe I said maybe these, and I will say this about ball games. Multiple districts are going where you have no choice. You buy the tickets online, you get a, yeah, they're not handling cash, and you have to pre-purchase them. I've had
I
multiple
mean,
ball
most of
games.
it, so you buy tickets
Yeah.
online, you're gonna pay a fee. for
Yeah,
it.
you're paying the
You
fee.
know.
And I think this has been more driven from the group of parents that want the convenience. You know, and not everybody's going to do it. I mean, some people still like cash and checks and keeping up with stuff, but we've been pushed about, hey, why don't y'all take debit cards, you know, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I'm not saying that we're ready to jump into the ball games or anything like that, but it might be someday we're paying with yearbooks, you know, maybe the yearbooks or something where they're paying. And two, I think that cuts down on the amount of traffic that we have of our paperwork of keeping up with every single dime that we get. This is a little bit more secure on, cash wise.
And a good example are when these groups take up money for trips, when they put them on a payment plan of $100 a month. And there's deadlines and things like that. You know, we all, oh shoot, I forgot to send the money. They can get online and send that in that day, and it for convenience.
What about purchases like class rings?
Most of those are
So
directly through the
Right.
company that's
Johnson.
selling them. We don't usually collect those funds at the school level. So most of those things aren't, it's really mostly at the school level, it's going to be t-shirts. And when they're collecting money, they could probably collect their fundraiser money, things like that through these stores. It would have to be the school's programs. It would not be our booster groups or anything like that. It would have to be the school programs. But they can set up an online store for lots of different things.
I move to approve item 13.
Second.
Okay, the motion is changed. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, item 14 was an added. Motion to approve pay application number 7 to see attachment 9.
Yeah, I apologize, these add-ons, architect firm got some of them late, people been on vacation. So I apologize if they got added on. I will talk a little bit about some of the safety vests. I know we have a change order down there. Mine are there for real E-rate. Their deadline to be completed is Tuesday. They're just about there.
Oh,
So,
really?
better knock on wood. Talked to Joey today at Leaf, and maybe Tuesday would be either maybe before that, but I'm not going to jinx it. So we should be having those up.
Move to approve item 14.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Dr. Abney, second by Anna. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 15, motion to approve pay application to ARPCO. For the middle school benefit.
Yeah, I sent you all a text, and I stopped over this week. I see some kids on the floor. We've got some hiccups. Anytime you do these projects, yes, the floors do stuff in about 2 or 3 spots that I think this summer, whatever. So it'll be right. We'll stay on them. But I went over there to the basketball game Tuesday night, and we had a big crowd in there and several positive comments. We got the scoreboards up today in there, and then a few others. But I'll be anxious to take you all over there. Maybe
Be anxious.
Motion to approve item number 15.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Frida to approve item 15, second by Dr. Abney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 16, change order number 2 to CNC contractor for security vestibule, $766.70.
in other words, talking about they didn't do something, they didn't have to do something, but then they had to do something else. That's how it works. So it ended up we owe them $766.
Right, it was not
Yeah.
a big amount. Okay, the motion was made by Dr. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 17, now we're moving to BG. To approve the initial BG1 for Caneyville, site paving and storm drainage.
You know, we approved the HVAC and after talking with the architects last time, the other components that need to be completed down there is probably better off being bid separately because they're just, who messes with HVAC and blacktop? I mean, there's just not very many folks like that. Now, we met with Joey today. It might be a little heat on the high side on that, but we do have some drainage issues. Leonard was in here, he was talking about it. Even when we were built there, some of the drains were higher. They had to lower them, but some of this is site work to get some drainage put in. And then hopefully blacktop. That's what that.
I make a motion, we approve item 17.
Second.
Okay, the motion is made by Anna, seconded by opposed, motion carried. 18, to approve the initial BG1 for Caneyville for foundation under.
Talking about that for how long, but
a long
we
time.
finally got on the district facilities plan, so now we do the BG. And
This is to
hopefully,
do with the wall.
yeah, that has to do with the wall, and hopefully, Joey said the engineer will probably need a couple weeks. We're looking at that in the high school project that maybe get out in March for all those in with a bond sale.
The motion was made by Dr. Adams, second by item 18. Favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Item 19 is to approve initial BG1 for Caneyville, metal roof repairs, gutter and down.
I think when I was assistant superintendent, we hired somebody to try to do some of the gutters down there. That's all there is to it. So that is some work, a little bit around some of the metal.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Dr. Adams, second by Anna to approve item 19. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 20 is to approve the initial BG1 for the Gracie County High School structural repair.
Yeah, it's the same thing as, you know, we just now got our district facility plan. We've been talking about it since last spring, so. Here we are.
Okay, the motion was made by Ballard. To approve item 20. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving to item 21. The first one is approval of the draft budget for 2023-24.
I can speak briefly about it. For the most part, this is a rollover of our budget. January, we just kind of start the process and roll it over. I did go ahead and unfortunately decrease our SEEK revenue on this budget a little bit, just because we expect that to go down. That's a statewide problem. I don't know if you've seen or heard any of the news about that, but that's a statewide issue. So we did go ahead and lower that in the budget a little bit, and we'll just that'll be our starting point, and we'll move from there. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, yes, because of attendance and the numbers. After COVID, when COVID hit the next year, everybody's like, hey, our attendance. So we're still on 1890. Yeah, but our attendance has been different. The kids that we have not come back in the public school system. Damn, I mean, those numbers are not come back or up. It's a combination of that.
We do expect some financial impact of that if the legislation doesn't do anything. Aid the districts.
Are they? I think they're looking at it.
There's definitely lots of requests
There's
for them to look at it.
conversations in there, but people you talk to,
as far as our lost seek revenue. Is it about 680,000?
I was gonna say, it was 500,000 or 600,000.
Okay, B under that is approval of 2023 comprehensive. Well, I looked at these, and I understand it. Then C is approval of the 22 set for Wilkie in the middle school. That was the fifth. Any questions?
Want to mention, think we're doing that school, I know those two schools, Carla, or you want me to, or? Yeah, I think when Ms. Decker explained our accountability scores there back at Lawler, we talked about a couple of schools, SI, the targeted, between our special education students and our regular score. So, the state is deemed, we have a pretty large gap at those two particular schools, so that requires a little bit more down their school development plans, and we are providing some assistance. Questions or comments? These ladies know a lot more about it.
I know I've been reading what the middle school's doing. So I'm aware of what you have.
Yeah, over Christmas break, we were able to meet with some of the schools, started setting a plan in motion about tracking those particular students, giving some common assessments with that, and just identifying those students. Really trying to look at their schedules, try to give them more supports during this group. So we met this group, Tracy Johnston, Mr. Cox, and I met with the principal of Kingville. Carla's been out in the schools, and Stacy have this week. Teachers talking about the plan, trying to support and see what we can do as a district. Provide those additional, those staff members successful. It's more being a little bit more intentional, identifying those students.
All right, thank you. I know that's a job.
They've done a great job so far.
Yes, they have. Thank you so much. D is approval to declare asset 18,678.
Yeah, that's and I'm on a goofed up and told Kim to take something off the wrong. It's it was a check folder. It was a check folder thing, and I said, but nobody's gonna know what it is, so it had a number on. That's what we put on.
Okay.
I did see Aaron and Sarah try to put it together, and that was kind of comical. That's another story for another time.
Okay. Looking forward to hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, item E was added, and that's approval of cash farm lease. Has to do with our crops out at the board.
Yeah, at the central office. Mr. Vickery, again, does amazing work, put that together for us, and we're gonna move forward. And we've been doing that for the last 9 years,
forever,
but
but we didn't have
said
a
we need to
formal
have a
agreement.
Now we
That has
got
to be in writing, like a.
Yeah.
That's what it came up in the audit. Well, we've been doing it forever, so
Yeah.
I didn't, a long time.
We're following the game. We've done it.
Okay, F is approval to surplus the following equipment. We traded in on the purchase of a new wheel and tire balancer at the Technology Center. And then it lists the 4-post quad rack, Weaver coats, tire changer balancers. G is approval for GCHS overnight out-of-state school-related student trips. The music department to Louisville on February 8th for all state competition. HOSA for overnight to Louisville, March 23rd through 25th. GCMS and GCH band for overnight, Campbellsville University on January 27th and 28th for all district band. H is leave of absences. Employee 1032, 2741, 3712, 2908, 3392, 3718, 3555. There was some added. Employee 1876, employee 2085, employee 2933, employee 2428. I is resignations. Bus driver, Sabrina Toms, aide at Wilkie, James Higdon, bus driver, James Cadlett, sub bus monitor, Brooke Ellis, sub cook. And Bruce Decker, cook baker at Wilkie. And then the one that was added was Clayton Felty as special ed instructional aide at the middle school. So that's item 21. And it starts at A through I.
Approve item 21A.
I'll second. Okay, the motion was made by Valerie, second by Anna to approve item 21 A through I. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item is we need a motion to go into closed session. Discuss the superintendent's contract for KRS 61.810. Motion to go into closed session. Okay, the motion was made by Anna, second by Dr. Amni to go into closed session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I think we have a room across the hall.
Stay around here. Adam's gonna sing a little bit.
I'm glad we're leaving.
And you're gonna dance, right?
I'm gonna do the dance. That's